Good day. I am Tiberius Dawnbringer, and right now, I mentioned in a previous video that I was gonna go over the different forms of Reiki that exist right now, and I have been doing a little bit of research the past few days because I want to get as much information as I can, and I've come across quite a lot. I heard that there was, like 20 or 30 different variations of Reiki, and let me see. So with this list and a couple others I know, there's 23 so far. And there's probably more, I don't know. I didn't feel like I need to do that much intensive research. I have enough material here. I have a list written down of all the ones I found, and I'll go over the list with you. But out of this list, there's only a little bit of information I know. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I'm probably going to do that a lot this video. Out of a few of these, there's only a few that I know, like basic general information about them, and the rest, well, I can go over that in a little bit. So I'm going to try to, I hope this works, but I'm going to try to get closer with my list here and go over it with you. And I'm gonna need my notes because I might have mentioned this in a previous video, but the recording thing that I use, when I'm recording, everything is backwards to me. Like right now, this all looks correct to you, but to me it's all completely mirror imaged and whatever, right? We work with what we got. So let's see. Alright, and let me adjust that light. There we go. So here we go. So going from top down, we got Gendai Reiki, Karuna Reiki, Lightarian, 5-element Sishem Reiki, and then we got Marie L, the Radiance Technique, Raku Kai, yes, Raku Kai, Tibetan Reiki, Rainbow Reiki, Golden Age Reiki, Reiki Jinkai Do, Satya Japanese Reiki, Mencho Reiki, Jinlap Reiki, Saku Reiki, Blue Star Reiki, Reiki Plus, and what's that last one over there? Gendai Reiki, and then kind of had to come over here, so it was Imara Reiki, Shambhala Reiki, and Kundalini Reiki. Alright, so we did that, and mouse is going crazy here, hang on, calm down there. Alright, and now we're done with that. Let me move the light back. Alright, I'm kind of being silly in this video. If you like it, great. If you don't, then I would apologize, but I try to be unapologetic, especially in this day and age where everybody's apologizing for everything. So let's see. So the second one on the list I mentioned, Karuna Reiki, that one employs sounds and frequencies that are endowed with the power to heal, which, to me it makes sense. I already kind of do that. In fact, I've mentioned it before. I recently started incorporating tuning forks into my Reiki work. And to me, from what little I know, but it makes sense, this would probably incorporate those kind of tools or something else of equal measure. But then we got the, what is it? The Rainbow Reiki works with the 7 main chakras, which, if you're familiar with the chakra, the ones that most people focus on, they form a rainbow color thingamajig, so that makes sense. Let's see. Then we got the Gendai Reiki. Gendai means modern. I forget the guy's name, but he wanted to bring a strong Buddhist perspective to the original Reiki teachings, and that's cool. God, I can't remember. Oh, the Lightarian Reiki was supposedly, it was brought about by Buddha, the Ascended Master himself, and it has to do with 8 frequency bands, 8 higher frequency bands than what Usui Shiki Ryoho does, and I think Karuna was also mentioned in there as well. There's a little bit more information on it, but from what I read, it sounded like it would be one that I might be interested in learning about, maybe even getting certified in, because it sounds like it's a much higher, well, it works up to a much higher level of healing than what I currently do, even though what I currently do is pretty awesome. But, you know, I would definitely like to be better. Let's see. What else did I have? Oh, 5 element Sishem. Works with the 5 elements, earth, air, water, fire, and spirit, to, you know, incorporate and bring about healing effects. And that's cool. I've always been fascinated with the element system. And then Kundalini Reiki, which is another one I'm interested in. That Reiki energy is channeled through the lower base chakras rather than the crown chakra, which, if you watched one of my previous videos where I talk about how I do it, I mentioned how I channel in the energy through my crown chakra into my body and out of my hand chakras. So this one does the opposite. And it makes sense because the Kundalini, or they refer to it as like a snake, like Kundalini snake energy. It rests at the base of your spine, which is where the root chakra is, and when you awaken the Kundalini energy, the snake unravels and starts to kind of slither up your spine, hitting all of the base chakras until it hits the crown, and then all kinds of interesting rainbow light stuff happens. So I'm looking to see if I'm missing anything here before I move on to the next one, because I've also mentioned before, and I'm going to switch the light some more because I feel like I'm getting like looking like, there we go, that's a bit better. Okay, so I mentioned before that there's a Celtic Reiki, and I managed to find information on that one, and that one I found to be quite fascinating. Let me do a thingy here, and it doesn't have like any kind of like real special name. It's mostly referred to as Celtic Reiki, but a couple times I came across, I'm going to do it this way so it's really big. Alright, Celtic Ogum Reiki. And sorry, when I get better equipment and stuff and internet, because where I live right now is a rural area that does not have its internet. I have to actually go places to upload and edit my videos. So, but someday soon, I have a feeling that this will be temporary. It's not a big deal. But anyways, okay, so try to get the light out of the way. Damn it. Celtic Ogom Reiki. There we go. Alright, so yeah, that's what it's called. Okay, so well, I'll explain the Ogom in a second, and let me look at my notes again, because there's quite a lot I found on this one. I'm surprised it's not more popular. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not even the kind of person that pays attention to trendy things. Whatever. Trendy people being trendy. So, okay, so Celtics believed trees had their... Wait, trees had? Nah, trees have. Celtics believe that trees have their own unique frequencies, and they would tap into those frequencies, and when introduced to our energetic field, infuses their characteristics. That's the trees. They infuse the tree's characteristics within us and assist our own vibrations to rise. Now, Ogoms, or Ogom Symbols, let me just read it from here. Okay, so Ogom Symbols, devised by the Celts in their sacred Druid alphabet, with different symbols representing different trees. When placed in our energy field, these symbols trigger the individual frequencies of the trees. Okay, so if you know anything about runes or runic symbols or the runic alphabet, to me that's pretty much exact same thing. It's probably like a different alphabet, like it looks different, all that, but the idea and the exercise of it is pretty much exactly the same. They would actually take these Ogom symbols, which I don't have any, I haven't looked at any, but excuse me, that's more research for me to do. And so they'll take the symbols and they'll carve them or etch them, or if you have like a wood burning thing, you can take pieces like wood chips and like burn them onto the chips, or stones. They'll sometimes get like flat smooth stones and paint the symbols onto them, just like how the Celts and Scandinavians and all that did with runic symbols or rune letterings. And they will just take the chip or whatever, and well, I assume this is how they do it when they have their client laid out on their table, or however they do it. They'll take the ones that they feel like they're drawn to use and just place them around a person, and the symbols will tap into that unique frequency of those particular trees that are associated with the Ogum symbols and bring it into the healing session. And I like the idea, and it's exactly similar to what I do with crystals. You know, I take particular crystals sometimes because they're associated with particular chakras. Sometimes it's because of the property that's with those particular crystals or stones, and I just place them on, around, or what have you, the recipient's body, and let the frequencies of the stones or crystals incorporate themselves into the healing session. So yeah, to me it's pretty much the same thing. There's also a little extra bit, Ogum Sticks, and all I can really say about that is that it's pretty much used for divination purposes, just like runes are used for divination purposes, or tarot cards or oracle cards. if you're familiar with oracle cards, you know, they're used for divination purposes. I guess tarot cards as well, but all that kind of stuff. The Ogum Sticks are pretty much the same thing. I envision it as just, you know, long, sturdy sticks that they have the Ogom symbol connected to, and they'll ask a particular question, and they'll close their eyes, and maybe they'll drop a stick or pull out a stick, or have the questioner pull a stick out or something like that, and, you know, gives them an answer or something of that nature, which is fine. That's cool. I'm all about divination techniques and such. I haven't really worked into that myself because I just haven't felt drawn to do it a lot. I have tried multiple times in the past, especially with tarot cards, just doing like the I want to say generic, but the most original, well-known is the something writer. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on that. But anybody that knows anything about tarot cards knows which one I'm talking about. And I've tried reading books on it, and, you know, doing like a notebook that's like, you know, writing each card and the particular meanings that it has and all that, and it's just, to me, it's too much. It's too much memorization, and I just can't focus enough on that particular thing. So, you know, I go with what works for me and what I can focus on, and, you know, Reiki was definitely one of those things. Crystals was another one. It helped that my previous I would just say girlfriend, she owned a store, or she still does. She owns a store around here. It's okay to do that. But anyway, she has one of these holistic stores where she sells all kinds of items like stones and crystals. In fact, the majority of the stones and crystals I've gotten from her store. And I have a few other stores around the area as well. And well, this, I'd love to talk about this more another video, but if you can see, it's clear quartz. It's a good sized chunk. The video makes it look kind of small, but it's fairly big. It's a conversation starter. I have a lot of people ask me about it. I got it from Sedona, Arizona 6, 7, 8 years ago. It's been quite a while, but it's been one of the centerpieces of all my stuff, and I wear this quite frequently. I have a few others that are like this, where they're like a pendant or necklace form. One of my other videos, you probably saw me wearing my sunstone one, which is around here somewhere. I have another one that has a sphere or ball-shaped lapis lazuli piece in it. You'll probably see that one here or there. But anyways, where am I going with all this? Oh, you're right. I'm not totally going off topic, but I'm kind of going all over the place with this video. So a last bit I'll mention is that a lot of the versions of Reiki that I mentioned in this list, the majority of them all have one thing in common. They all stemmed from Usui Shiki Ryoho, which is the version I do. This is the most well-known version, or, you know, everything I've went on when I did the research. Almost every website I went to, it was the first one on the list, and I guess they call it Usui Reiki for short instead of Usui Shiki Ryoho. So I might just start doing that myself, yeah, because it's a lot of syllables and I'm lazy sometimes. Whatever. So yeah, but yeah, the majority of these stemmed from that as the original source, and they just came up with something that they wanted to do. They had their own ideas and just incorporated it, and then they named it something else, and there you go. And I don't mind. I really don't care at all. There could be like 1,000 different versions of Reiki. Reiki is still Reiki. Reiki is light. Light is healing. And You want to name it, you brand it, call it your own thing, I don't care. The purpose behind it is to bring about healing to people, and as long as that's what you're using it for, then that's great. I don't care how many versions there are. You know? But as I mentioned before, there are a few on here that I'm actually considering, now that I've read up about them and see what they're about. I'm actually interested in furthering my knowledge by exploring some of these other ones that I found are on this list. The Celtic one is still very interesting to me. I've always been interested in, Celtic traditions and stuff, because, well, there's a lot of that in my ancestry, and Celtics, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about this because it's a subject matter I've enjoyed most of my life. And there's other places that traditions or whatever, but that have this, but a lot of people have probably heard of druids, right? But surprisingly, I've met a lot of people, especially in the past few years, that have never heard of the word druid or druidic. And that's something I learned about when I was younger and was very fascinated with it. And it was kind of a tragic history, because druids were very important back during the first Roman emperor actually worked with druids back then. But druids, I think and feel and believe, they were strongly based in the Celtic tradition, like that's where they originated from. And they were very neutral in the way they handled things. They would be called upon to judge certain matters, They were very wise and good at looking at, all the information, hearing everyone's story, putting everything together, and then deciding on the most right and fair outcome for all involved. So, you already have a lot of that kind of stuff nowadays, but back then, especially when the world was still being developed, Rome was like the first empire. They were the first ones that really worked with expansionism and trying to bring all kinds of cultures together. Sorry, my nose itches. The fact that at least the first emperor of Rome was wise enough to use them as counsel quite frequently, says a lot about them. And they're very in tune with nature and trees and, the cycles of the equinox and, what's the other word? Solstices, the seasons. They were knowledgeable about like the planets, those kind of cycles, the stars, the constellations, all kinds of things. And it got to a time period where I want to say Christianity started getting involved, and Christianity did what it has done to a lot of other cultures, especially when it found it to be a threat. They pretty much destroyed it all. They wiped out all the druids and most of their knowledge, and druids were the type of people that would pass on their knowledge and stories and traditions orally from one person to the next. They never really wrote anything down except for their alphabet, which I mentioned earlier. And so, like, when they got massacred, a lot of their knowledge, pretty much, it almost went into non-existence for many centuries. It's only been, I don't know how long, but it hasn't been a long time since knowledge of the Druids has resurfaced, and now it's like it's a pretty much an everyday thing now. But I very much like the whole Druid thing. I've read a few books on it. I've done my best to kind of practice that knowledge and incorporate their beliefs and traditions and such into my own life, because I just feel like it's anything that's natural and based on nature and the cycles and flows of the universe itself, I'm absolutely on board with. So yeah, but this video's starting to get longer than I intended it to be, and so I'm gonna draw it to a close. I don't know what I'll be doing next video wise, but something I'm gonna try to do in the future is I'm gonna actually get the space that I have at the studio I work at, if I get approval to do this, I'm actually going to try to give a demonstration of what I do and how I do it, so you can actually see it rather than just hear about it. But I'm also planning on starting to do a few videos that talk about the various stones and crystals that I use with my work, and that's probably going to span several videos because I have quite a few stones, and I'm not going to just be like, oh, this does this, this does this, this does that. No, I'm going to do and show the proper respect for those entities and try to give you more detail than that. So anyways, that's it for now, and if you're still with me, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, and I express my gratitude to all of you for being here during this time with all of us humans on this planet and listening to my truth and what I have to hear, say and express. So yeah, love and light, have a good day.